Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome inside the softball field here at Milford High School, as Milford TV is happy to bring you coverage of Scarlet Hawks athletics. Once again, this is Tim Coet on the call. We are getting down to the final days of the 2018 Spring Sports regular season, all the way here on May the 23rd. And in the final stretch of this regular season, the Lady Hawks softball team returns home to take on a Davenport Division opponent in the Sharon Lady Eagles. Milford comes into this game still playing perfect softball on the season. They come into today's matchup with an overall record of 16-0. They are 12-0 amongst Hockomock League opponents, and they take on a Sharon team in a drastically different position in those Davenport standings, winless on the year, in last place in the Davenport Division at 0-17. It's been a rough season for Sharon as they look to try to find those building blocks moving forward, much like we've talked about with the Milford baseball team over the course of this season, trying to find those new faces to step up at the varsity level. And so far on the season, the offense for the Lady Eagles scoring just a total of 31 runs through those 17 games while allowing 229 runs, which is by far and away the most in the Davenport division. And of course, this was a matchup that went very lopsided in Milford's favor earlier this year. Back on May 8th, Milford traveling to Sharon, and they walked away with their highest run total of this 2017 year, 28 runs scored in a 5-inning Mercy Rule victory. 28-2 was the final score. So certainly a game that you would think is imminently winnable for Milford here as they get set to head into a stretch of their season that does not have very many easy games between now and when the playoffs begin. After today, 3 games remain on the schedule for Milford, 2 of them coming here at home, but all against difficult opponents. They'll take on Franklin on the road, here at home tomorrow afternoon on May 24th, and then next week they will close out the regular season with games against King Philip on the road, and then their second matchup of the season against North Attleboro. So 3 teams that look to be playoff caliber teams. Franklin at 500, North Attleboro and King Philip already assured to be in the postseason. So it will be a difficult stretch to close out the year for Milford, so they look to continue to stay sharp here as they get set to take on the Sharon Eagles here this afternoon. And before we go any further into the broadcast, one thing that we certainly do want to mention, our thoughts are very much with a fellow Hockomock League team this week in the light of very tragic events. By now, no doubt, most people have heard about the events that took place that impacted Stoughton High School over the weekend, a terrible car accident that claimed the lives of 4 students over at Stoughton High School, several of which were part of the Hockomock League athletic community, and a couple of those students we actually had an opportunity to cover for the Stoughton High School football team back during the fall sports season. So very tragic news out of Stoughton, and we certainly do send our thoughts and prayers over to the Stoughton community in what has been a very challenging time. And we know the Hockomock League schools have all come together to show their support of Stoughton High School during this very difficult time, so Milford TV certainly sends our thoughts over to Stoughton High School as well. Milford now taking the field, ready to get this game underway, and very quickly we'll bring you the Sharon starting lineup as we get going here today. Leading it off is the third baseman Julia Early, Allie Small the shortstop batting second. It is the center fielder Jody Goldenberg batting third, with the catcher Rebecca Klayman batting fourth. Batting fifth is the left fielder Jamie Kessler, with Lauren Yaffe, the starting pitcher, batting sixth. Courtney Solis is the designated player, batting seventh, with Izzy Spader, the first baseman, batting eighth. And in the ninth spot is the right fielder Emily Botvin. And just one pitch into the game, the out is recorded on a ground ball to second base off the bat of Julia Early. 4-3 on the out. And very quickly, softball action underway here at Milford High School. We'll bring you the Milford starting lineup in between innings. Happy to once again be bringing you live streaming coverage of Scarlet Hawks athletics over on the live stream app and also on milfordtv.net. For those of you who may be tuned in after the fact on YouTube or on our educational channel, we encourage you to tune into our live streaming sports coverage. We stream on our educational feed, the Milford TV educational feed on live stream. Make sure you download that live stream mobile app so that you don't miss any of our live streaming coverage, especially with playoff action just a few short weeks away. A quick 1-ball, 2-strike count on the number 2 hitter, Julia Small. Starting pitcher for Milford, Kelly Reichert, out there once again. She scoops up that ground ball on one big bounce, sends the toss over to first. And it's 2 up and 2 down for Reichert. Defensively for Milford, it is Emily Hartman behind the plate, Sabrina Harstick at third, Emily Pierre-Gustavo at short, Maddie Bonvino at second, and Jess Tomaso at first. Left to right in the outfield, Antonia Bonina, Kate Irwin, and Shannon Cormier. All in support of Kelly Reichert. Reichert delivers one outside to Jody Goldenberg, the center fielder, batting on the right side. Plenty of chatter coming out of both dugouts as this game gets going. A swing and a miss by Goldenberg, and the count evens at 1 for Kelly Reichert. This is start number 15 on the season. Called strike brings the count to 1-2. The bases are empty with 2 outs. Reichert looking for a clean start. Back into her windup, and the 1-2 pitch is swung on and missed for strike 3. The first strikeout of the game for Reichert, and the top of the first inning comes to a swift conclusion. We'll keep it right here. To finish off our starting lineup information, we were able to get you the Sharon starting lineup before the start of that top of the first inning. And now for the Milford Lady Scarlet Hawks starting lineup, it is the standard starting lineup for Milford here this afternoon. Kate Irwin leads it off in center. Emily Pierre-Gustavo, the shortstop, bats second, with Jess Tomaso in at first base batting third. Emily Hartman is your catcher, batting fourth, with Shannon Cormier, the right fielder, batting fifth. Kelly Reichert, the starting pitcher, bats sixth, with Maddie Bonvino in at second base, batting seventh. Sabrina Harstick plays third base and bats eighth, and in the ninth spot is the left fielder, Antonia Bonina. And so a quick flip-flop in that starting lineup, and also the positional breakdown for Sharon High School. It is Lauren Yaffe out in right field, and the starting pitcher in this game will be the number 9 hitter in their lineup, Emily Botvin, number 16, who warms up out there in the circle right now. Milford coming off of a very successful week. They had a lot of road games stacked up in their schedule over the previous week, and once again passing every test with flying colors. And that included their most recent game, which was back on May 16th at North Attleboro, a 5-1 victory. We'll get more into the particulars in that game, as there were a couple of players that had some real standout performances on that day. Kate Irwin with a bunt attempt to start this bottom of the first inning. She was down to first base ahead of the throw, but the throw was wild, and that will allow Irwin to advance to second base. So it'll be a single and an error to get Irwin into scoring position. And now Emily Pierre-Gustavo taking a first pitch called strike 1. Emily Pierre-Gustavo gathering a couple of hits in that victory against North Attleboro, as she hits this pitch hard on the ground towards second base. A bobble there by Jenica Patel, and Pierre-Gustavo will reach. It was a bit of a tricky hop, and then Patel lost her footing. We'll rule it a hit for now. We'll check with the official scoring after the game, but it leads to runners at the corners as the action continues fast and furious here for the Milford offense, just to close out that point on Pierre-Gustavo. With that multi-hit game in the win against North Attleboro, Emily collected hit number 144 for her high school career, which sets a new Milford High School record for softball. So Emily Pierre-Gustavo now with the most hits in Milford High School softball history. A historic offense these last few years with the amount of runs this team has been able to put up. Emily Pierre-Gustavo right in the middle of that, a 4-year starter on this varsity team. 2-1 count on Jess Tomaso. She lays off that pitch and takes the strike right at the bottom inside corner. A nice pitch from Botvin. A count even at 2-2 as timeout is granted at the plate. Defensively for Sharon, we'll get to it after the next pitch. as this one is stung in the air out to center field, in and out of the glove of Jody Goldenberg. This will mean 1 run for Milford. Irwin, who hung up initially thinking that ball would be caught, is able to cruise to the plate as Pierre Gustavo goes first to third. Tommaso ends up at second. And it's been a rough defensive start to this game. The errant throw on the bunt attempt by Irwin, the bobble at second base for Patel, and now the dropped fly ball by Goldenberg. And Milford quickly with a 1-0 lead. Now Emily Hartman swings at the first pitch. She hits it to second base. A bobble, and now a bad throw by Patel. It goes to the edge of the field of play, and 2 runs will score. Pierre Gustavo and Tommaso come in on what will already be the 3rd error of the inning. So a 3-0 lead as 2 runs score on that play. And a courtesy runner now over at first base as Amanda Wenkus takes over for Emily Hartman. She is the lone base runner as ball 1 is issued to Shannon Cormier. And the next pitch in on the outside corner, a 1-ball, 1-strike count. So Jenica Patel, who is flexed out of the lineup, only playing defensively, has had a tough start to this game at second base. As the pitch drops in low, bringing the count to 2-1. And the next pitch hit hard to second base, kicked by Patel, drifts to the foul line. Advancing to second base on the play is Wenkus. Cormier safe at first. More errors than hits so far in this inning. Already 4 errors for Sharon. Runners at first and second for Kelly Reichert, who sends a fly ball out to right field. The catch made by Lauren Yaffe, and that is good for out number 1. The runners hold. Wenkus remains at second, Cormier at first, with 1 down now for Maddie Bonvino, who has very quickly moved up the ranks amongst hitters in all of the Hockomock League. Coming into this week, Maddie Bonvino had the 4th best average in the Hawk at .519. One of 2 Milford batters in the top 5 in average, as here she sends a high fly ball. That's going to get over the glove of Goldenberg out in center. Racing around the bases is Wenkus. Cormier will hold up at third base. It is an RBI double for Maddie Bonvino. And it is now a 4-0 Milford lead. So an RBI for Bonvino, who will see that batting average take another uptick, as now Harstick sends one out into right field. Yaffe froze. Cormier crosses the plate. Right behind comes Bonvino on a gift double to Sabrina Harstick. Back-to-back doubles for Milford. 2 more runs on the scoreboard. And Milford quickly gaining separation here in this first inning. Now already a 6-0 lead. Harstick, the lone runner on the bases now. She is at second. And Harstick has also seen her batting average steadily climbing here as the season has gone on. She came into the week at .451 with 19 runs batted in. So you can make it 21 RBI now on the season, with the 2 runners crossing the plate on that double. And now Antonia Bonina takes ball 1 high. Bonina starting the day at .453. 24 hits on the season and 53 at-bats. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Swung on and missed. Bonina very quickly the 9th batter to come to the plate in the bottom of the first inning. And now the slap hit to shortstop, a quick throw across the way for Allie Small, doing everything she could do, but too much speed for Bonina. So an infield single. Harstick advances to third, so now runners at the corners as Milford officially bats around in the inning, and up for the second time comes Kate Irwin. She will take a strike. Milford up to 5 hits now in the inning as Irwin takes a big swing that time but comes up empty. Down in the count, lays off that pitch that runs inside. Irwin reaching on a bunt single and advancing on a throwing error to lead off this inning. Still just one down as Irwin fights this ball out to shortstop over the drawn-in Allie Small. An RBI for Irwin as Harstick scores. Bonina moves down to second on the RBI single. Irwin now already 2 for 2 with an RBI and a run scored. And now Pierre Gustavo takes a called strike. So a long inning continues in the circle for Emily Botvin. But her defense certainly allowing Milford the chance for extra outs in this inning. Not that time, as Izzy Spader, sure-handed, is able to make that catch in foul ground. Two down now for Jess Tomaso. Swings at the first pitch and drives it deep out to left field towards the scoreboard, and that one is gone. A 3-run home run for Jess Tomaso. And Milford will further tack on to the lead. The Milford fans enjoying it, a no-doubter for Tomaso. For Tomaso, that is home run number 5 on the season, which now ties her with Emily Pierre Gustavo for the team lead. And so an even 10-0 lead here in the first inning for the Lady Hawks, as Emily Hartman now drives one past the shortstop out into left field. Now it's boxed around by Kessler, and Hartman will take advantage as she moves up to second base. So 5 errors now in the inning for Sharon, continuing to do themselves no favors. And now the 14th batter to come to the plate in the first inning, Shannon Cormier. She takes a pitch for ball 1. Cormier reached on an error. Overall on the season, batting at .446 and sends a line drive right into the glove of Julia Early at third base. She makes the catch for the out that finally brings an end to the first inning, but not before Milford brings home 10 runs. And after just 1 inning of play, it is a 10-0 lead for Milford over Sharon here on coverage of Scarlet Hawks Athletics on Milford TV. Back for inning number 2 here, Scarlet Hawks Athletics on Milford TV, a 10-0 lead for the Milford softball team over Sharon. And as we get this second inning underway, we are very pleased to be joined by a special guest here in the broadcast booth. He is the game day coordinator. Is that your official title here for the softball team as well? Brett Crosby joins us on the broadcast. Brett, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So very happy to have someone who has just so much knowledge of the entire athletic program here for Milford, but especially the softball team. Brett, it's been a number of years now that you've been working with this team. What's the experience been like for you?
It's been unbelievable. These girls are so amazing and so talented. I mean, the sky is the limit for them.
A 1-ball, 2-strike count on Rebecca Clayman, the catcher, who opens up this top half of the second inning with Sharon now in a 10-0 hole. The next pitch from Reichert misses up and away. And that's really nothing new for you, Brett, to sit there in the dugout and see this team put up double-digit runs in a single inning.
No.
A 2-2 count now as Reichert delivers her next pitch, and it's sent foul off to the left and out of play. It was a tough schedule for Milford last week, Brett. You go back to that Friday game against Newton North. You also had a game at North Attleboro in the mix there, but this Milford team making it look easy. How good did the team look against those prime playoff caliber opponents?
They look pretty good. As DeVito says, the past, then we got to look forward to the future.
And this team will have a chance to see that North Attleboro team one more time in the future here in the regular season with that home matchup coming up next week on May 31st. So a game that I know a lot of Milford fans will look forward to. But in the meantime, Sharon, the opponent here this afternoon. A 3-ball, 2-strike count now on Rebecca Clayman, who is trying to work up Reichert's pitch count. Here's the payoff pitch, and it's swung on and missed. 2 strikeouts in the game now for Kelly Reichert. And Brett, interesting, we have Allie Atherton here today as a spectator for the game. Kelly Reichert out there in the circle. Allie with such a dominant year last year en route to that state championship, but Kelly's done a fantastic job stepping up into that primary starter's role, wouldn't you say?
Yes, she has. She carries herself pretty strong for...
Swing and a miss from Jamie Kessler.
And I think she learned a lot of that stuff from Allie last year.
It's going to be a huge benefit to have a chance to watch a pitcher of Allie's caliber operate, but really it was such an unusual season for Milford last year, as Kelly was an equal contributor during the regular season. To have 2 pitchers that are capable of being aces on any pitching staff, that is certainly something that Milford was very fortunate to have last year. Tough ground ball in the hole at shortstop, but played well by Pierre Gustavo for out number 2. Base is empty now with Lauren Yaffe, the right fielder, standing in. Reichert retiring the first 5 batters she's faced in the game. And the pitch in is a called strike. And now a swing and a miss. 0-2 the count. Reichert 1 strike away from finishing off the 1-2-3 frame. Getting a strikeout and a ground out so far in the 2nd inning. And ready with another offering. And it is swung on and missed for strike 3. 2 Ks in the inning. Another 1-2-3 frame. We'll be back with Brett Crosby for the bottom half of this 2nd inning. Still a 10-0 Milford lead over Sharon here on Milford TV. Bottom of the 2nd inning, Milford will send batters 6, 7, and 8 to the plate. Kelly Reichert to lead it off. Tim Coet here on the broadcast, joined in the booth by Brett Crosby, part of the coaching staff here for the Milford Lady Hawks softball team. Emily Botvin delivers her first pitch of the frame. It's sent foul over towards the parking lot. And such a quality coaching staff for this Milford team. Brett, of course, Coach Steve DeVito in now his 5th year as head coach of this team. What is it like working with Steve?
I mean, he's amazing. I mean, he knows everything about softball and then baseball. So his experience is just unbelievable. He's such an amazing guy.
1-1 pitch. This is driven in the air out to center field, and that's going to drop in. Goldenberg plays it on a bounce. It's a leadoff base hit for Reichert to get this inning started. And, of course, also part of this coaching staff, Tim Walsh, who's been here for several seasons now with Coach DeVito. Yourself, of course, and then also Caroline Fairbanks joining the staff for this season. So a group with plenty of knowledge to go around, I would say.
I mean, she was a part of the 2012-2013 state champions, so she has a lot to bring to this group of girls.
Just tremendous experience in the coaching staff and out on the field. Many of these players, 9 players, part of that state championship team a year ago. And so unusual, Brett. I know Milford had a chance to experience it in those years you just mentioned, bringing a lot of that state championship team back 2 years in a row. Now this team doing it again here. And to have a team with that level of experience, it really means sky's the limit for the team, and right on cue, sky's the limit for that pitch into Manny Bonvino that gets given a ride over the left field fence for a 2-run home run, and Milford takes a 12-0 lead as Bonvino flexes the muscles. And I would imagine too, Brett, that kind of experience, this is a team now working on 41 consecutive victories going back to last season. I would think that for a lot of teams that might start to put some pressure on after a while. Do you feel like this team feels the pressure of that winning streak?
No, not really. The video tells us, there's going to be a lot of questions asked about the 40-game winning streak. And the video says, you know what? Just talk about the games in front of you, not in back of you.
Excellent advice, as Coach DeVito tends to take that Bill Belichick type approach to both the softball and baseball fields, and it's certainly helped his team stay focused through a lot of success in recent seasons. An 0-2 count now on Harstick, who lays off that pitch. It misses down and in. A single for Kelly Reichert and a 2-run home run for Matty Bonvino has expanded the Milford lead to 12-0 here in the bottom of the second. Harstick now sends the pitch out to shallow right field. Yaffe was playing deep, and she'll have to play that ball on a bounce. Already the third hit of the second inning. 11 hits now through 2 innings for Milford. And now Antonia Bonina will dig in on the left side. Swings at the first pitch, loops it out to left field, and that drops in front of Jamie Kessler. And you can make it 4 straight hits. The only 2 spots in the lineup, Brett, different from the state championship team a year ago, Sabrina Harstick and Antonia Bonina. Both players have really seemed to assimilate very easily into the starting lineup and have really continued to put up the same caliber of numbers as the rest of the players in this lineup.
I mean, this team has really stepped up. I mean, they got after it in the offseason. I mean, I think they're hungry for another state title.
It has looked that way without a doubt. Kate Irwin already taking her 3rd at bat of the contest. Fouls that ball to the backstop to bring the count to 2-1. Milford coming into today, scoring a total of 208 runs as a team. The next highest mark in the Hockomock League, King Philip at 190 runs scored. As this ball is floated out to left field, but Kessler lost it. And that will allow Harstick to come around to score. Tough to tell from our vantage point if Kessler got a glove on that ball. But regardless, Irwin winds up at second base as Milford now takes a 13-0 lead. Irwin on base for the 3rd time, and now Pierre Gustavo hits one hard to shortstop. A high throw for Allie Small gets away from the first baseman. Bonina comes in the back door from 3rd base to make it 14-0. So that one should go as error all the way. It was played well at shortstop, but the throw just sailed on Allie Small. And now Tommaso, a gapper out to right center field, swinging at the first pitch. Irwin will jog across the plate. They hold Pierre Gustavo at 3rd on a double for Tommaso. So a home run, a double, and now 4 runs batted in the game for Jess Tommaso.
She's playing unbelievable this year.
And Jess Tommaso, it's almost hard to remember a time where Jess was not part of this Milford High School softball team, but you think back to her sophomore year, she transferred in from Hopedale High School, and certainly a decision that I think a lot of Milford softball fans are very grateful for. It's hard to imagine that the team would have the same level of success they've enjoyed without Jess in the middle of this lineup.
I mean, yeah, she's like Big Poppy. I mean, if you need stuff getting done, she gets it done.
also want to talk about the leadership on this team, Brett. Obviously, with 9 seniors, there's plenty of leadership to go around. You have 4 captains on the team, but really to have that kind of leadership, it's probably been a huge benefit for some of the younger players on this team, and also to help keep the team focused. They've had so much success this year. At times, it looks like things come very easy for the team, but that leadership, I'm sure, helps keep things maybe on solid ground, keeping the team focused at times where they could easily maybe get lost in their own success.
It does, and DeVito has to remind them of that sometimes.
So another hit and another run batted in as Emily Pierre-Gustavo comes home on the single for Hartman. She collects her second hit and a run batted in the game. Milford up now 16-0. There are no outs in the second inning as Shannon Cormier comes to the plate. She hits one hard on a bounce to second base, and a couple of bobbles for Jenica Patel. Tommaso scores. It's been a rough defensive game, to say the least, for this Eagles team, as Milford now ups it to 17 runs with still not an out recorded. Kelly Reichert, the batter who started this inning, up for the second time. She singled earlier in this second, 1 for 2 overall. And the next pitch, that drops down and in. Briefly gets away from the catcher. That allows the courtesy runner Amanda Wenkus to move to third. Wenkus at third with Cormier at first. And Reichert popping that pitch up foul. Takes a hop over the backstop out of play. A 1-2 count as Botvin readies for her next pitch, and this is sent high in the air out to left field, back towards the fence, and that one is gone. A 3-run jack for Kelly Reichert, the second 3-run home run for Milford on the day, and this will cross Milford into 20-run territory. They take a 20-0 lead on Sharon. Kelly Reichert not only excelling in the circle, but excelling at the plate this season. Reichert coming into the game batting .433 with 23 runs batted in. Can make it now 26 runs batted in as she grabs her second home run of the season, as Bonvino records just the first out of the inning, the out made by Julia Early at third base. Bonvino, who had hit a home run herself in her last at bat. Out number 1 in the inning, and now swinging at the first pitch, Sabrina Harstick sends a single through the right side of the infield. And this is just one of those times, Brett, where this offense is just so tough. They barely let you catch your breath out there. Right now, just jumping on that first pitch.
I mean, this team refuses to lose, and I have to respect that.
Foul ball floated over to the left side, out of the reach of Julia Early. One out and a runner at first base as we continue to be joined in this inning by our special guest commentator, Brett Crosby. Antonia Bonina sending that one on the ground to third base. The home plate umpire emphatically signaling that that ball landed on the dirt before it reached Early's glove. She froze, thinking that she caught that in the air. By the time she reacted, no chance to send a throw anywhere. So it will be an infield single for Bonina. Runners at first and second base, as it looks like we'll start to see some pinch hitters coming to the plate now as April Swain grabs a bat, taking the place of Kate Irwin. Irwin had been on base all 3 times she came to the plate. Swain takes ball one. An interesting way to close out the schedule, this regular season schedule, Brett, with some very tough games, arguably some of the toughest games on the season. We'll get to that in a moment as this ball is sent in the air out to left center field. No one can reach it. Rounding third base is Harstick. She will score on what will be an RBI double for April Swain. So picking up right where Kate Irwin left off, driving in an RBI. The team will be right back here tomorrow with a tough game against Franklin and then games against playoff caliber competition in King Philip and North Attleboro. So really no opportunity for this team to cruise into the playoffs. They're going to have to battle hard right to the end.
In my mind, the playoffs start tomorrow, Tim.
I think a lot of fans would agree with that sentiment. Certainly looking likely that all three of those teams will be in the playoffs. We know North Attleboro and King Philip will be there. KP at 16-3 on the season, North at 14-2. Franklin comes in a little bit of a tough week last week, dropping to 500 on the year, but still very much in the hunt for a playoff spot themselves. Amanda Wenkus now batting in place of Emily Pierre Gustavo up there with a 1-ball, 1-strike count. Getting a piece of that one, sending it foul. There is still just one out in the inning, runners at second and third. And there is a called strike three. Wenkus goes down looking. And we'll see a third straight pinch hitter now as Megan Hart will bat for Jess Tomaso. So Tomaso also reaching base all three times she came to the plate. A 3-run homer in the second. An RBI double also taking place in that second inning. So Milford has hit 3 home runs already on the day. Tomaso, Bonvino, and Reichert. Hart sends the first pitch foul for strike one. Score 20-0. Milford with the lead over the Sharon Lady Eagles as now a hard ground ball gets past Julia early. Antonia Bonino will cross the plate for the 21st run of this ball game. Quickly filling up my score sheet. Milford scoring 28 runs the last time they faced off against Sharon on the road. Well on their way to that total once again here today. Brett, has there been anything that stood out to you for this 2018 team that's been a different feel about the team than maybe what you experienced last year with that state championship team?
I mean, their mentality is different, but everything else is the same from 2017.
This ball floated out to shallow right center field. Ranging out was Jenica Patel to make the catch. In for the pinch hitting appearance was Alexis Caron. She gets the out recorded for the out that ends the inning. Milford now a 21-0 lead. Brett Crosby, absolutely outstanding having a chance to spend the inning with you, and we look forward to doing it again sometime. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you, Tim.
21-0, Milford leads Sharon. We'll be back with inning number 3 next here on Milford TV. Wholesale changes defensively for Milford as we get into the top half of the third inning. We'll bring them to you as the inning progresses. We'll start with the change in the pitcher circle where Jess Tomaso takes over. After 2 perfect innings from Kelly Reichert. Emily Hartman remains behind the plate. Sabrina Harstick still at third. Amanda Wenkus taking over at short. Bonvino remains at second with now Carly Ferreira at first. Left to right in the outfield, Bonina still in left. As this ball is sent foul, Shannon Cormier, it looks like, moves from right field to center. And into the game in right field is April Swain. A 1-ball, 1-strike count, that pitch missing high as Courtney Solis, the designated player, leads off the top half of the third. And now a swing and a miss brings the count to 1-2. Jess Tomaso back in the pitcher's circle now, making her 6th appearance in the circle this season. High ERA, but only 8 innings pitched, so that ERA a little bit inflated at 6.12. She's allowed 8 runs, 7 earned in those 8 innings pitched. And now a ground ball hit foul over towards the first base dugout. It keeps the count at 1-2. So Kelly Reichert done after 2 innings, allowing no runs, no hits. She did not walk a batter, struck out 3. And a chance for a short afternoon, as it is a quick turnaround for Milford. As we mentioned, they'll be right back in action here at home tomorrow to take on the Franklin Lady Panthers. Two balls and 2 strikes the count on Solis. Here's the pitch. It's a floater out to second base. A diving attempt by Wenkus. Great effort as she dove towards the second base bag. Ended up keeping the ball on the infield, but it will go as a single. The first base runner of the game for Sharon. So Solis aboard at first, and now the number 8 batter, Izzy Spader, at the plate. Taking a first pitch strike from Tomaso. And now swung on and missed. 0-2 the count. Three pitches. Tomaso able to overpower Spader, keeping that ball down in the strike zone nicely. Jess has worked tremendously on her pitching as this season has gone on. Very early in the year, made it very clear to Coach DeVito, you need additional depth on the pitching staff this year. You can count on me, which that is exactly the kind of player that Jess Tomaso has been for every year she's been part of this Milford athletic program. Very selfless, ready to do whatever it takes for the success of the team. Jumps ahead of the next batter, Emily Botvin. 0-2. And now a fly ball out to shallow left. Another nice attempt for Amanda Wenkus as she traveled out, tried to make the over-the-shoulder catch. The ball lands, but Milford able to get an out in the exchange on the force play at second base. Solis was forced to hold up, thinking that ball would be caught. So Botvin ends up reaching on the fielder's choice. And it's now 2 down, a runner at first base as Sharon goes second time through the order. Ball 1 issued to Julia Early, who grounded out to second base to lead off the game. It's a much different looking scoreboard in that top half of the first inning. Now a 21-0 Milford lead. This time Wenkus able to make a clean play on the grounder to shortstop, and that will conclude things here in the third inning. An effective inning of work out of the bullpen for Tomaso. She allows that leadoff hit, but nothing more. And it's still Milford 21 and Sharon 0 here on coverage of Scarlet Hawks Athletics on Milford TV. Shannon Cormier leading off in the bottom of the third, taking a called strike against Emily Botvin, still working out there. She's given up 21 runs on 20 hits through the first 2 innings. Sharon also with 7 errors committed. Now Cormier with a hard grounder. It gets under the gloves of both Spader and Patel on the right side. And Cormier will collect the leadoff single. It's her 3rd time on base. She reached on errors in both the first and second innings. Able to get her first hit, and now another pinch hitter comes to the plate as Carly Ferreira now bats for Reichert. In limited pinch hitting situations, Carly Ferreira has enjoyed good success this year. She has 3 hits in 4 at-bats on the season, so a very limited sample, but she's been able to maximize those opportunities. Here she flies one out to right field. Hung on to by Yaffe. So no hit this time as Ferreira flies out. Maddie Bonvino still out there, the senior captain, taking ball 1. It's been a good day for Bonvino, 2 for 3, a double, a home run, 3 runs batted in. Takes a called strike on the inner edge. And the 1-1 pitch hit in the air, out to left field, settling underneath, and making the catch is Jamie Kessler. So 2 outs after the leadoff base hit. Botvinnik with the opportunity to get out of this 3rd inning with no runs allowed. Issues ball 1 to Sabrina Harstick, who has 3 hits in 3 at-bats. She's scored 3 times and has driven in 3 runs, and you can make it a 4-hit day for Harstick as she lines one out to center field. So that puts 2 on now for the number 9 hitter, Antonia Bonina, who is also 3 for 3. Each time she has been on base, she's scored. She sends one to short. And a nice throw, that time by Allie Small, a quick release, and she's able to just get the speedy Bonina at first base by a running step, and that will retire the side. Milford does not score in the 3rd inning, but they continue to lead this game by a 21-0 margin. We'll head to inning number 4 next here on Milford TV. A completely new battery for this top of the 4th inning. Jess Tomaso done after 1 clean inning of relief. And it will be Megan Hart now as the 3rd Milford pitcher of the day. And behind the plate now for the Lady Hawks is Alexis Caron taking over for Hartman. And the very first pitch is tapped right back to the circle. No problem for Hartman to field and throw, as Allie Small is retired on a one pitch at bat. And so with Emily Hartman out of the game now, we would be remiss if we did not mention the superb day at the plate for Emily Hartman last Wednesday in that showdown with North Attleboro. Milford winning that game 5-1. And all 5 runs batted in came off the bat of Emily Hartman. A career day at the plate in a key division showdown. And Hartman, who came into this week as the number 2 batting average in the Hockomock League. And you would have to imagine at this point, Hartman is going to receive very serious consideration for MVP of the league this season, as Hart makes another nice play with the backhanded stab in the circle. Fielding her position very well in this 4th inning, retires Jody Goldenberg on the 1-3 ground out. Just to finish the point, Emily Hartman with a .532 batting average. The only player with a better average in the Hawk is Jamie Brown of Taunton at .564. But she's done it in half the at-bats of Hartman. Hartman with 62 total at-bats on the season, Brown with 39. And Brown with 8 runs batted in on the season to Hartman's 27 coming into this week. So, again, you can make a very easy case that Hartman has been the top bat in the Hawk this year. And meanwhile, Megan Hart with a lightning quick 1-2-3 inning as she retires Rebecca Clayman 4-3 on the ground out. And just like that, the top of the fourth comes to a conclusion. Milford with a 21-0 lead over Sharon. They will come back to the plate for the bottom of the fourth inning next here on coverage of Milford High School softball on Milford TV. April Swain will take her second at bat since entering the game. Starts off looking at strike one from Emily Botvin. The starting pitcher for Sharon continues to operate in the circle. And now a ball tapped foul at the plate. Swain was able to come through with an RBI double, taking over for Kate Irwin in the top spot in the lineup last inning. 2 innings ago, I should say. Here she sends a slow roller back to the pitcher's circle. Botvin to Spader over at first base for out number 1. And now Amanda Wenkus, 0 for 1 with a strikeout. Swings at the first pitch and fouls it off of the state championship sign behind home plate, which now does officially note all 3 of Milford's state championships. The 2017 year was added a couple of weeks ago. And now a fly ball out to right field. This is going to be trouble. It's beyond the reach of Patel. Wenkus reaches with a bloop single. So the first hit for Wenkus, and now a swing and a miss for Megan Hart. Very good job in the circle in the top half of this inning. Pitching to contact, getting 3 weak ground balls. But falls behind in the count, 0-2. The next pitch, that backs Megan Hart off the plate. 1-2 now the count. And now a fly ball hit out to right. The catch made. It's Nikki Martinez now out in right field. She's able to make the play. So it's 2 outs, a runner at first base for Milford. The inning left up to Alexis Caron. And she sends a foul ball into the feet of the catcher. 1 ball and 1 strike. It's a 1-2 count now. Botvin looking for another scoreless inning. Misses high with the pitch, evening it at 2. The next one on the way, misses high again. And now a high fly ball sent out to left field, but that one twists foul. And now Caron with a ground ball into the circle. It ticks off the glove of Botvin, and Caron will reach. See ultimately if that's ruled a hit for Caron, but puts her to first base, moves the runner down to second. So Wenkus the lead runner at second base with Caron at first. Cormier still out there in her number 5 spot in the lineup. Not many starters still out there. Milford exhausting their bench. Bonvino and Cormier, the only remaining starters in the lineup. We'll see if Shannon will see some time in the circle before this game comes to an end. So far, we've seen Reichert, Tomaso, and Hart. A 1-ball, 2-strike count. Here's the pitch, and it misses down and away. Cormier waits, and the next pitch is dribbled over to the right side. It's going to be a tricky play. Sharon tries to shuffle the throw quickly over to first base, but not in time. And so that loads up the bases. Bases loaded opportunity for Carly Ferreira. She swings at the first pitch, loops it down the right field line into foul territory, just beyond the reach of the new second baseman into the game, Anya Lane. A lot of substitutions on both sides, keeping me on my toes. I should also point out that we've seen a flip-flop of positions on the left side of the infield for Sharon, with Julia Early now at shortstop and Allie Small at third base. With Nikki Martinez now in right. She'll get tested here on a deep drive by Ferreira back towards the fence that just barely stays in the yard. 2 runs will cross the plate. Wenkus and Karan score on a 2-run double that was maybe about a foot away from being a grand slam for Ferreira, but she'll take the 2 runs batted in to increase the Milford lead to 23-0. Looked like this was going to be a quiet inning, but not the case any longer. As we'll see a 3rd run as Cormier crosses the plate. Ferreira will come around from second. So 2 more runs score, and you can make it 25-0. So Milford, who scored 28 against this Sharon team a few weeks ago, getting close to that number once again with 2 down here in the 4th. Back-to-back 2-run doubles. And now this one will end up ticketed for center field. Milford taking it 1 base at a time as Sabrina Harstick now enjoys her 5th hit of the game, 5 for 5. And now first pitch swinging, this one sent to short, and some indecision by Julia Early. Thought about sending the throw to first, then tried to underhand a toss to second base, but by then it was too late to get a throw anywhere in time to record an out. Another infield hit for Bonina, and not even a moment to look down at the scorecard, as now this one is hit deep in the hole on the left side. That will go as an infield base hit, and they are reloaded. So it is Harstick, Bonina, and Swain, the runners. Wenkus collecting a hit earlier in this inning, and now lines one out to shallow center field. That touches down for a hit. 1 run comes in as Sabrina Harstick scores. And now a first pitch swing by Megan Hart sends one in foul ground behind first base. The catch made for the out that ends the inning. But Milford doing some serious 2-out damage in the inning. A huge lead for the Lady Scarlet Hawks as we enter into inning number 5 when we return next here on Milford TV. The left field scoreboard has gone dormant for the Lady Scarlet Hawks. Still frozen at 21 runs. By our count, we have it up to a 27-0 lead for the Lady Scarlet Hawks as we see a bunt attempt on the first pitch of the 5th inning. Into the game in the circle is April Swain. As the out ends up getting recorded at first base, Swain fielding the ball and sending a throw to Maddie Bonvino, who was just able to maintain contact with the bag. That's now a swing and a miss for strike 1. Against Nikki Martinez, the pinch hitter. She took over defensively in right for Yaffe. One ball, one strike count. We ended up seeing a straight swap of positions as Megan Hart moves out into right field to replace Swain. As that pitch is in for a called strike 3. Swain collects a strikeout. It's the 5th strikeout for Milford pitching in the game, and just like that, the first 2 outs of this top of the 5th inning are recorded. And what will likely be the final frame of this softball game, barring a historic run output with 2 outs and the bases empty for the Lady Eagles. Swain's pitch misses high to Courtney Solis. Solis has the only Sharon hit of the game. It came to lead off the 3rd inning. A swing and a miss, and the count goes to 1-2. The base is empty, 2 down in this 5th inning. The pitch from Swain, and Solis cannot hold up on the swing. The pitch up and out of the strike zone, but Solis chases, and that is going to conclude the afternoon here on the Milford softball field. A tremendous output for this relentless Lady Scarlet Hawks offense as they take down Sharon by a final score of 27-0. So the winning streak rolls on, 42 straight now for the Lady Scarlet Hawks. They improved to 17-0 on this 2018 regular season, but it is now a very tough schedule remaining for the final 3 games on the year for Milford. They will be back in action, as we mentioned, here tomorrow afternoon, taking on Franklin, before heading out on the road for their final road contest on the 29th against King Philip. And then their final game of the regular season will be back here at home on May 31st against North Attleboro. That is the next time we will have this Lady Hawks team covered. In the meantime, a big thank you to our Milford TV crew on hand for the game this afternoon, our director, John Giacomuzzi, our camera operator, Patrick Garapi, and also a thank you to Brett Crosby for joining us on the broadcast today. And I am Tim Coet. That final score, one final time in 5 innings, 27-0, the win for Milford over Sharon. This has been a presentation of Milford High School Athletics here on Milford TV. So long, everybody.